Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Hey guys, this is MC Anime here, and we're back with another episode of MC Anime Podcast. So we have two people with us today. One is the regular Kimmy, and other one is Emerald. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Also, you probably noticed I changed my Discord name because my Discord kind of upgraded.
Alright, say hi, Kimmy.
Hello.
As you know, Kimmy the cat's back, so just be aware of that.
I am alive, woohoo.
So,
Cool.
Emerald, tell me a little about yourself, what you do, and all that stuff before we get to the episode.
Oh, what I do? Well, I do
Yeah.
reaction videos. I do gameplays. In fact, I'm doing a gameplay series of Night in the Woods. You probably heard of that.
Okay. Kimmy, what's your introduction? Since I'm very generous.
So for the older guests, if you remembered, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but I kind of took apart from it, and now I am a Pokemon player, and I'm a Photoshop artist. I'm very good at art, and yeah, that's my introduction.
Yeah, he's a retail man too, so there you go.
Sim?
In his day life, he's retailing at night when do Photoshop.
Yep.
So for the dude, today's episode is based on my original take of being a character. It's inspired by Face Off, and I'm actually going to be a character, and part of the process I did it to choose a character was based off the Norse Mythology Yukuso tree, the 9 realms. So that's a little bit of background about today's episode. Today's episode is called Character Design and Theme Methods. So basically we're going to break down different pictures that I have of the 9 realms. We're going to talk about design for each one and a little bit about Norse mythology in the picture and what aesthetics could you use as an obvious reference? What could you use as an indirect reference to that picture? So is there anything you want to add about Norse mythology, guys, that you want to share?
Well-
The Asgard picture looks nice.
Okay.
I also like the Frost Giants. It kind of gives me to imagine what my OC would look like if there were like frost in his fur.
True. And you know, with Norse mythology, well, if you want to go to Asgard, we can. Asgard is one of those popular mainstream realms that a lot of people know about.
Because of like Marvel with Thor and Loki and, Odin.
Oh yeah, they're all Thor and Loki and Thor, but you also get into the different warrior aesthetics and kind of like the upper echelon of the Asgardian.
Yeah.
And and Odin's father.
Oh yeah, he's the All-Father. That's kind of what he's called.
Yeah.
He's the overseer and ruler of the matriarch thousands of years.
Yeah.
So, what makes Asgard particularly interesting is the Bifrost, or the Rainbow Bridge. It actually acts as a portal to the 9 different realms of the Yukuso tree. So it can actually transport you as a gateway to where actual realm you actually want to go to.
Yeah, like Earth or the world of Equestria where my OC lives. Well, technically my OC could live anywhere.
Treasure can be really connected to the Yukuso tree as necessarily, but I don't know. And the connectivity maybe, but I don't think it connects to every world. Like,
True. But now you mention it, Asgard has been one of the places that were attacked recently by so many enemies.
I mean, the MCU.
Well, allow me to break down a few things. Like, in the movie, well, in several episodes of Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man, pretty much Asgard was taken over by either Loki and that symbiote invasion. Ugh, those things give me the creeps.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, pop media like DC and Marvel. Marvel has a big impact with Thor as a character. I mean, there's a Thor version in DC, but it's not really as prevalent as Thor in Marvel.
Wasn't there like a DC villain that was like part of like a Greek mythology? No.
I don't know.
I'm sure there was. I'm sure. I mean, there has to be. There at least one. I'm sure. I don't know why they wouldn't.
I mean, well, yeah, DC focused more on the Greek. I think it was the Ares.
Oh, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman. Wait, yeah, Wonder Woman. Right?
He was the main protagonist of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Well, he was the protagonist of Wonder Woman, but was most of the antagonists against the Amazons. Because the Amazons were the ones that were keeping him at bay for him coming to Earth and not being banished. But back to Norse mythology, not get back into Greek because not even Greek. Asgard is interesting. The simple fact, it's where the newer gods live, and it's always an invading force in the mythos, what Norse actually represents. So what are some design choices that Asgard you can take to use for a character, since it is part of this theme method?
Well, what kind of weapons? That depends what kind of weapons are in Asgard.
Well, the Asgardians is typically a ruling class with a warrior focus. So there's all different mixed people being in, and it's not just the newer gods of Aesir being Asgardians. It's like the melting pot of different species coming in to be part of it. Like
That's a
one specific thing, you could have the Valkyries with the dwarf, whatever, fighting alongside you, but that typically has restraint. It's not a specific group of Asgardians, it's just Asgardians.
That's pretty cool.
As a theme method, Asgard is like ruling class, heavenly, in the sky is a big thing, so the Rainbow Bridge, so having something to connect to, maybe Mother Nature with the weather or something like that could be cool. Any thoughts, Kimmy?
I think it's not like the characters. I just like the location of Asgard. Other than the character designs also look nice. Basically, if you see like an actual of the Thor movies, you would see like the background of it. Even like the newest Thor movie, I just like how the terrain, the fields of the world of Asgard. I thought it was pretty cool.
True. Given the aesthetics for Asgard, I think you would have to, if you want to do the gods, then you can have the gods, heavenly, cosmic, all that stuff. Eternal theme is a good one, but gold can be a really good color scheme in the scheme of things. Rainbow as a color palette could be interesting to pick from as well. So there's different aspects that would make a design off that character kind of cool, because it's how the Aesir gods kind of became associated with the gold. That's kind of how they fortified their home. So when you think about it, all that gold being upper class kind of fits for Asgard. Any final thoughts?
Not really. We can move on to the next point.
Gotcha.
Well,
Helheim. Helheim is interesting, actually. It's the version of the underworld, the afterlife location in Norse mythology, and paganism. So it's also in pagan religions as well. So it's ruled by a being, the same name, Hel. In late Icelandic, we also have varying descriptions of Hel, how they were giving, so as being buried with the items that facilitate their journey to Hell after death. But it's kind of interesting because those who have died of an illness or old age is typically the inhabitants.
Interesting.
It's the realm of death, located in the deepest, darkest, gloomy part of Niflheim, in the 9 worlds of the Yggdrasil.
Well, when you bring that up, it kind of reminds me of, you remember the Hazbin Hotel and Hell the Boss?
Yeah.
Well, as much as I like the animation, I gotta say the storyline is a little questionable.
True.
Why do they make that?
Yeah.
the Zootopian one was a better idea, but that, I feel like sometimes I feel like some people are not looking at the potential.
True.
But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you get like a dark theme, you have death, and it's kind of like you're being punished because typically those who die is a dishonorable death, forced to tread to the icy lands where no fire can live. It's all that.
Yeah, but this movie makes it feel like that hell is not a bad thing, but it's very wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. What's your thoughts, Kimmy?
On Has-Been Hotel or the Helheim?
Helheim.
So on Helheim, wasn't like in Thor Ragnarok, I think it was called, like in the beginning, wasn't like Thor, and that was like it was in there in the beginning of the movie, and he felt like one of the king in that movie, or was that something else?
Well, the fire realm with the fire.
Oh, that's the fire. Oh, the fire realm giants,
Yeah.
and that's I don't think that's in there. Okay, so for Helheim, I think it kind of gives you like a Magic the Gathering vibe. Like, would you agree?
Okay. Anything specific in Magic like Gathering? Like maybe the Black Mantle?
Yeah, like specifically the swamp. Like even by the art itself, it could look like a Magic card. I don't know. And like there's like creatures with zombies or like vampires. So that
Okay.
like undead creatures. That looks cool.
True. And the contents is like you have the House of Hell, which is one of the 9 worlds of Norse mythology, the Helheim. Ruled by Hel, the mysterious daughter of the trickster's god Loki, his wife Angelbada, cold, dark, misty abode of the dead, located in the world of Niflheim, lowest level of the North universe. So it sits at the really bottom of the ecosystem tree, and Asgard's like on the top. So this is like a contrast to both. As for character-wise, there's several ways you can go. Departed soul, black, dark colors, and overall a murky or an eerie presence. Which you guys think?
Well, when you put it that way, it does sound pretty intense. You could, but judging by my appearance, I don't look anything like that, do I?
Well, no. I guess you'll be like a bright character for Asgard instead.
True. Thanks.
How about you, Kimmy? What type of character you think will be coming from Helheim?
On the top of my head, probably one of the creatures from Magic the Gathering.
Okay. A D&D Helheim inspired version of it. Gotcha.
You mean the
Yeah.
harpy?
No. I think of one.
Basically, Kimmy think of the afterlife when he used to be a cat, when he had one of his 9 lives.
Oh no. I found one. I'll post it in the
So.
server. I'm like one of the night creeps. I'll post a picture.
Oh, gosh. That's kind of funny.
Wait, you
True.
know what show I'm talking? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Night creep.
Yeah. You guys makes me feel like playing D&D again. Maybe someday.
And this, the night creature?
Yeah.
The end of the
What
jungle,
does it look-
creatures become black and all lands become swamp? What? Okay. I don't... Sure, I guess that can work. The monstrous beast turning everything to black and swamps. Well, it's not really swampy, but you know what? Dark it works, black works. No life there at all.
Yep.
Oh gosh. But yeah, that concludes about Helheim and its origins in the Norse mythology. Next is actually going to be Jotunheim. Jotunheim is kind of interesting. It's like a frozen tundra environment, and it's actually home of the ice giant. And like some notable people like Fenrir and some other stuff. But typically very cold, very desolate. It's like a cold desert. It's the dwelling place of the giants, or the ice giants. Jotun is winter, so it's the realm of winter itself, which usually thought as being far to the northwest. It's the place where the ocean met the edge of the world. It's a giant land, so giants are the residents, and the ruler is actually Lufrey.
So it's a frozen wasteland. Sounds like Crystal might feel right at home.
Yeah.
So then that's like Loki's homeland, He was from
Well,
the
yeah,
Ice
he's a
Giant.
dog. Ice giant.
Sure.
Oh, I thought that was Loki's homeland, right?
Well, you know, it was also Loki that betrays that kills Loki, which is the father. He then overloads the Bifrost power in order to destroy the full Jotunheim in Marvel. So when you think about it, they have a different storyline with it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Jotunheim is not even is the giant land. It's also thought as being so at the edge of the world. So it's where it's the farther edge. So it's actually harder to get to in some aspects. And also, in my opinion, I actually picked a really good character design based off Jotunheim. I'm actually doing Skatey or something, I think.
Yeah,
She's
Scotty.
the goddess of winter, hunting, skiing, mountains. She's very Pacific.
Oh,
So skiing, bow hunting, winter, and the mountains. So she's one of that I'm picking. So the design-wise, what do you think when it comes to giant land and frozen tundra?
Well, I think I would go for, I guess I would go for a white wolf because they're more skillful in those environments.
Now, so you go like Loki's son, Fenrir.
Sure.
He's a giant wolf character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a giant wolf. That's based in that takes some resonance in Jotunheim. How about you, Kimmy?
On what?
You have Jotunheim, which is the land of winter. We have a giant land and winter theme. What comes to mind?
Yeah, similar to what you said about Scotty. It brings me back because I used to play Smite, and Scotty was one of the gods I did play. So the fact that she's awesome. Yeah, I do. I have like a fair bit of knowledge about her.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I guess doing her, maybe I won't now.
Yeah.
You're like the second person that knew about Scotty top of their head. It's like what? I just finalized this today. It's just kind of crazy, but that's beside the point. But yeah. With that being said, it seems at one extreme for smart people. So, when you think about it, it's beyond the fence, way out there, already hard to get to.
Wow.
One extreme of the end of the traditional, spectrum between the inner guard and the outer guard. So, inside the fence. So, when you think about it, Jotunheim with the land of giants and being winterized, it's just how you perceive it.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yep. Next one was going to be Niflheim, the land of the fire giants.
Cool. I like
the
getting one. Sorry.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's a location which overlaps the notions of Niflhel and Hell. The name Niflhel appears only in two instances, which is the Gafaging and the much debated Odins. So it's actually interesting what.
Dude, I got bad news. I need to get going soon because it's midnight.
Gotcha. Well, that is the introduction for Crystal in this episode. So please tell them a little bit before you leave, and we go from there.
Sure.
Where can they find you and all that stuff?
Well, before I go, I want to let you guys know I'm starting a Discord server called the Emerald Tent. It allows new friends to join me in my videos.
There you go.
Yep. Anyway.
So, Christopher being here and give some insight into at least Asgard, Jotunheim, and Helheim.
I will, but I don't think she's online, is she?
Who?
Crystal.
No.
Oh.
You're just on. I said thanks for the link.
All right. Anyway, I gotta go. Bye.
Bye, guys. So, yeah, we continue going with Niflheim. It's the misty region north of the void in which the world was created. So it's an icy under the eye. So Niflheim is known for a land of mist, ice and cold. Frigid provides a final resting place for the dishonored dead. The grim giantess who roams over the deceased also makes her home here. So when you think of Niflheim, what do you hear? What do you think about?
Oh, so then that's the land of the fire giants, and yes, that's bringing up my point earlier about when Thor was in that movie fighting the Fire King, and was able to get the Fire King's crown.
Yeah, kind of interesting because it's kind of weird. Oh, how everything works out. It's actually the Misty version. For the tree.
And again, it gives you like a Magic Gathering vibe. So like, I could probably show another example of like another creature from like the Fireland.
Yeah, it's really in a cold, desolate land with it. It's all surrounded by water. It has a lot going for it. It tends to give off an eerie feeling, like I can say the least. And typically the residents don't usually stay too long.
Yeah. It also brings up another, remind me like for a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. Kind of reminds me of the Burning Abyss floor because of the Fire Lake and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
well,
Dante.
when you think about it, the primordial realm of ice and mist, it's the coldest realm in the entire universe. It's the realm of the soulless where beings who have had their souls destroyed upon death reside. Niflheim is the home of Nighthawk, the Vow of the Dead, and the Ice Giants. So think of like this as like a Jotunheim burial ground, but the Ice Giants not wanting to be there because of Nidhogg itself. So with that being said, it's the coldest realm. It's a little bit more colder than Jotunheim with the Ice Giants, so we found a realm that's even colder than that place, and it's a realm of the soulless. So, very eerie. I would probably designate it as a limbo. Maybe like a spirit, and having like a very clear version, kind of. How about you?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's a little bit about Niflheim and how it kind of presents itself. So, with that being said, a clear, rainy vibe, some of the aspects of water, or even a spiritual astral plane projection being modified from someone's body could be really cool for a design of a character. I mean, Nidhogg being based off a character could also be well, because I think in the generator archetype, Nidhogg is actually represented as a generator boss.
Oh yeah, that too. I almost forgot about that archetype.
Yeah, it should be one ice water type or something. Should be on the field. Should be itself. It negates the summon, so it being Nidhogg kind of being the story of giants kind of makes sense. It negates the summon stuff.
Like on paper, the cards sound nice, but the downside with the deck, it heavily relies on the field spell. That's why I don't think a lot of people are playing.
It does. But yeah, next realm, that's Niflheim. Let's go to Muspelheim. Muspelheim. This is the land of the giants. A hot, bright, glowing land in the south, guarded by Soot, the fire giant. In the beginning, according to one tradition, the warm air from the region melted the ice of the opposite region, Niflheim, thus giving the form Ymir, the father of the evil giants. So, Muspelheim is where the fire giants live, and demons. This is the Muspelheim, which is the world destroyer, wreck of the world. So this is your Muspelheim, primary world of fire in the cosmology of the Norse people. In the beginning of the creation, the heat of Muspelheim and the ice of Niflheim had combined to create Ymir, the giant, whose body was used to form the world itself. So you're thinking of Ymir, which is how Ragnarok came about.
That, I think, with the design of it, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually the fireplace itself.
Yeah, you also see like, also the specific artwork that in there, on the inside the Google document, you can see there's like a hiker in there, and there's like two like hooded guardians like guarding the bridge. That looks cool.
Yeah, it's like suspended, but it has the fire theme with the lava. It being so hot and being the opposite of Niflheim. In retrospect, Niflheim being as cold as it is, and Muspelheim being so hot, the contrast between the two is actually pretty vibrant. One is bright colors, one is desolate with misty colors. As for design-wise, I think fire comes to mind. Demon, like the underworld demon, can also be a really cool spin on it. And anything to do with heat. Lava, volcanic, stuff like that could be a really good character to inspire from Messerheim. What are some of your thoughts on Messerheim design for a character for the theme method?
It kind of feels like a dark, edgy vibe to it. Not gonna lie. That's not a bad thing, but it's like I like it like a good thing, you know.
Oh, true. You know, they have Ghost Rider for a reason, so they kind of give that vibe.
Yeah, it does give off like a Ghost Rider vibe. So
True, but yeah, that's the final aspects of Messerheim. I mean. Next, we're going to go to Nola Vio. Nola Vio is the home of the dwarves in myth. It's underground, and it's very regarded in the Norse mythology. So, what are your thoughts about Noravir?
Noravir, it has like a nice atmosphere to it. I like the artwork behind it. As for the creatures, I'm not entirely sure specifically. Do you know the specific creatures? Oh, like the seven dwarves.
No, it's the dwarves in Norse mythology that craft the magical weapons, like the people that craft Thor's hammer.
Yes. I was gonna say that. Yeah, there was only one of them that was able to survive. Right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remembered that. Yes. So okay, yeah, similar to that. Kind of forgot how they came to an extinct to begin with.
So it's one of the realms of Norse mythology. It was the home of the dwarves or black elves. So there's also black elves here too. Carnivorous subterranean terrain was said to be located in the north, specifically a reference to the position of Yugosa, the world tree. So when you think about it, it's one of the 9 realms. The problem is that both Northavir and Svartalfheim are mentioned, and it's unclear if the 6th world is in the world of dwarves or one of black elves. The dwarves world is mentioned in the Prose Edda, which is also the Svartalfheim. So we had Northavir has like different lore with it, like God of War, Ragnarok, different stuff like that. I think either dark elves or dwarves being the main characters is interesting. So anything you vision as a dwarf, as a character you think you'll like?
The only character I could think of would be the one in the Ragnarok movie that helped before he gets his hammer. That's really all I can think of.
So short, stumpy, long beard, heavy armor, very built. Well, not built, but like very battle prone. Short and stumpy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Dark elf probably be darkened figure as a custom theme, being evil in some aspect, playing with dark magic. So, Northavir is pretty interesting in that regard. And it doesn't have, it's underground, so you can totally go a different direction with subterranean. There's so many creatures under the earth, subterranean, that you could do as well. So,
I agree. Yeah.
What the envision of characters that North America can inspire is kind of like whatever meets the eye kind of thing. So it's not like an obvious choice like other ones could be. So if you think about it, North America is actually pretty good on how many characters can come from it. So, yeah, that's North America. Vanaheim is interesting. This is where the older gods live than the Neo.
Sure.
And Vanaheim is like earthy feeling. It's like it's associated with Vanir, a group of gods that associate with fertility, wisdom, and the ability to see the future. So Vanir here is attested both, salutations, which are single time. So it's kind of interesting how Vanaheim takes place. It's the home of the Vanir deities. Seldom mentioned in the Norse text, Vanaheim was thought to be a counterpart to Asgard, the world of the Aesir gods. It was best known as the birthplace of Nord, the patriarch of Vanir. So, basically think of if the Asgardians, based on the Aesir, didn't take the world of Asgard, then Vanaheim will be the actual place where Asgard would be is now. Is that interesting?
Yeah, I think it caught my interest a lot.
Because Vanir were the people, and then the people that broke off was the Aesir, which is the Asgardian people. The two groups of war were at war with each other, but eventually made peace and joined as allies. So that even after a sea of gods became good, the Vanilla they kind of forgotten about a little bit. I know the designer I had envisioned was Freya, who's one of the Vanilla gods of wisdom, fertility, and peace. I was thinking about him as a potential candidate for a designer and a character. What are your thoughts about Vanaheim being the way it is?
I just like the fact
fertility,
that
wisdom, seeing the future, stuff like that.
yes, that also kind of reminds me of like a gatekeeper, right? I forgot his name in Thor, where he was able to, I think he's just named the gatekeeper, and he has a son. And the fact that they made peace with the other Asgardians, I thought that was also a pretty interesting aspect, in my opinion.
It's true. Well, it's like an earthy moss feeling to me. So really going heavily nature is not a bad alternative. You could go also like an old forgotten god character. So let's say some stories use gods, they're like older gods. They don't really get worshipped anymore. Well, you can bring that character back to life through a transformation of sorts. So that's kind of what Vanaheim gives me. Any other themes within Vanaheim you want to give like to character design?
I'm not kind of too familiar with the characters. Can you like give some examples? I could probably think of some.
Okay, so you have nature. You have the
Yes.
earth. You have forgotten gods who are no longer worshipped. You can also do a rock creature of sorts, since it's part of the earth. You could do a little definition. You could do like fawns that are like wooden creatures with horns, but are like deal.
Oh,
Or
like the
nature.
Groot, or from Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy.
You can do him too. You can do a plant creature. So there's different ways to go about it.
That's pretty
Because
nice.
nature as a theme is pretty universally adaptable. Living trees walking among us, or a mountain creature that picks it up and has all this moss growing on it. And there's different ways to interpret that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Vanaheim, with the Vanilla gods being the way they are. Last realm, probably the best one I like visually. Elfheim. So Elfheim's actually the home of the elves, funny enough. A class of demigod like humans and religion of the North and other Germanic people. Let's see. So it's the home of the elves. Delightful realm, the dwelling place for the light or the bright elves. These bright, beautiful, luminous beings being inspired in the arts, music, and creativity in general. So when you think of Elfheim being the realm of the light elves or bright elves, what do you think of?
So with elf character, I'm trying to think of one that has to do something with it's like fairies and elves are different things, right? Like different races.
Yeah.
Put it in that way. I'm trying to think. The fairy. I actually can't think of one off the top of my head of which specific character of the elves would be in.
True.
Yeah, not sure.
Well, with light elves specifically, it's usually bright colors, very bright color palette. They tend to represent more of the lighter side, so they're very pale in comparison to the darker elves. And overall, they're very inclined with the nature. So elves typically fit with nature because of how they live as a kosher society together. They consist of land, and also Elfenheim being the actual place where it actually happens. It's interesting to know how it all works, because the Vanilla god Farrier is said to be the ruler of Elfenheim, which I based the Vanaheim scenario with that. But it's kind of interesting seeing that the relationship between elves and Vanir is highly ambitious. Instead of overlap between the two groups, Farrier's position as Lord of Elfenheim, therefore, while hard to interpret, could be entirely surprising. So when you look at it and the depths of it, you actually have a decent coexisting between Vananaheim and Elfheim being connected to the Vindir and Freyr. Anything else you want to say about Elfheim?
I have no additional points. No.
Gotcha. Yeah, with that being said, overall, yeah, because when Freyr came in existence, there's the Asir-Vanir War, which is between Asgard and Vanaheim at the time. That's how Freyr became the ruler of Elfenheim, as a god who belongs to the Vanir tribe of deities, also an honorable member of the other tribe of Norse gods, the Aesir. So he's been in Asgard, but also is a Vanir himself, tribe. So with Elfenheim, I would say this: bright color palette, nature as the foreground, like in the background, and very close to deep hyperlight fantasy. I think elves are probably the most known in the fantasy world, so drawing them up actually be really cool. I can see it now. Kimmy being the elf. Instead of cat ears, he has elf ears.
I can see myself as elf from the Christmas movie.
That's around the elf. Well, no, Christmas elves, the little. Oh gosh, the Christmas elves are even worse.
Oh,
Those
yes.
are like mean little things. Oh
wild.
gosh, we were way on that one. But yeah, that concludes character design and theme methods. We analyzed 9 reference pictures of different realms of the Yggdrasil tree, and as a result, we discussed the characters that fit within the theme of the different realms. And I'm glad that our guest Emma was able to show up and give insight to at least 3 worlds in Helheim, Asgard, and Jotunheim, and Kimmy was able to finish it out with me. Any final thoughts before we go?
I like the idea of Norse Mythology. I'm really looking forward. We can do like another podcast about this. Like, I really had nice interest about on the Greek mythology and stuff. I'm willing to do this again, of course, on a different topic, but then Norse mythology.
Cool.
So I like it overall.
Yeah, I think with my aesthetics, I think I kind of chose 4 different realms as 4 of the 9 that was actually good. North of Via, Jotunheim, which I did Forest Giants for the silhouette of the characters, for the cover art for Jotunheim. For Vanaheim, we did an elf that was hunting. Elfheim, we actually did Freyr, and one of the old depictions of Freyr. And the other one was Jotunheim, Elfheim, and Vanaheim. Vanaheim, we did. Oh, Moldavia being the home of the dwarf. That's what I forgot. So with that being said, we basically covered themes. I'm either going to do Freyr of Vanaheim or Skadi, that is also a ice giant in origin, who is basically being an elf. So it's going to be interesting to see how, if nature wins Orthed Marcy for Vanaheim, or icy and winterish like Jotunheim. So, and Kimmy's kind of biased against Skadi. I'm kind of biased against Freyr now. So I don't know. It could be interesting. Who do you think we better?
I mean, I actually want to know. Unless we play a game of Smite, we can do a 1v1. Let's see which god's better.
Yeah. Well, true. I'm going to be the character with special effects makeup and here the photographer. So having the wardrobe plus the hair, the makeup, and the prosthetics to look like a character, it's going to be kind of cool. And the photo shoot to have it. So stay in tune for that project. It's going to be an extra inclusive, which inspired this entire podcast. But yeah, we can talk here all day, but I think we wrap it up. So generally, thank you for being here. Kimmy, you were saved because you didn't die in Helheim.
Yeah, thank you, Mick, for saving me. I appreciate it.
So there you go. You're saving all the boredom, and he came back from retirement. And he's going to be here for more often because he's not going to go anywhere.
Nope.
All right, guys. See you later.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.